INDIANA, that's Indiana. Ballin' like Reggie Miller, that's Indiana. I put up on my state, that's Indiana. Watch me rep it in your face, that's Indiana. That's Indiana, that's Indiana.
Hi, I'm Matt from Ludovox, and we are at GenCon 2016 Day 3 on the CGE booth, or room, with Paul. Hi, Paul.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, a bit tired probably, maybe dire need of coffee. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I've been working from 8 in the morning till 11 at night for the last, I can't remember how long. I don't know what day it is anymore. So yeah, it's been busy.
What year is it?
Yeah, I don't know that.
So we are here with Adrenaline, so it is the future release for Essen, for CGE.
Yep, coming out at Essen this year, so we'll have it ready for Essen and then it'll be distributed after that.
So, what is the game? What is it about? What's the narrative?
So, Adrenaline is a first-person shooter style game, which is not the kind of game that we're known for doing, but it uses Euro mechanics. There are no dice in the game. Combat is deterministic. So, the more you start explaining what the game is, people start saying, "Oh, I can see why it's now a CGE game." So they kind of said that a first-person shooter with Euro mechanics couldn't be done, so we did it.
Nice.
So that's the basic premise of the game.
So how many people can play the game? 5, I guess, with the miniatures?
Yeah, at the moment it's up to 5 people. We're sort of working on 3 to 5 players at the moment. Yeah. We are looking at introducing AI rules, so it will work with 2 players as well. Okay. But yeah, 3 to 5 is currently the main players for the game.
Is it an expert game?
No, compared to a lot of our other games, the rules and the mechanics of this are relatively simple. You can teach somebody how to play in about 5 minutes, maybe a little bit more. But yeah, the rules are very, very streamlined and elegant, so nothing complicated.
How long does the game last, and what is the recommended age for the game?
Not sure of the recommended age because the rules, as I said, the rules are not that complex. So you could maybe play this with maybe 10 and up, something like that. Game length, once you know how to play the game for 5 players, maybe just over an hour. Okay. Maybe an hour and a quarter, something like that. So it isn't a long game. With 3 players, obviously you play in shorter time. With learning, maybe add 10 or 15 minutes onto that. But yeah, it's definitely not a long game.
So what is the object of the game? How do we win? Do we need to kill the other people?
Okay, well, the game's going to come with 3 modes of play. We've been demoing the deathmatch mode this weekend, which is basically run around and shoot everybody else. Now, it isn't the kill shot that gets you points. What happens is that when you damage another player, you will be placing, so if I was to shoot you, for example, I would take some of my damage counters, depending on the weapon that I used, and I would place them onto your damage bar. Okay, so they would be placed here. Now, once your damage bar has been filled with damage from all of the other players, then your character would have been killed, and then we score points. And the scoring of points works on whoever did you the most damage will score you the most points, second most damage, the second most points, and so on and so on. Okay. And then what happens is that you will respawn. So you don't die and you're knocked out of the game. You'll come back straight away, and then you can carry on. There's bonuses in the game for dealing first blood. That will be worth extra points. And the player who dealt the kill shot will get a marker on this track here. And at the end of the game, there's another area of majority scoring based on the number of kill shots that people did. Okay. So yeah, when somebody dies, everybody else who damaged them will score points, and it's the one with the most points at the end of the game that wins. That's for deathmatch mode.
So what does trigger the end game in the deathmatch? Is it like a number of turns?
Well, it's a number of skulls. So you will decide at the start of the game how many skulls you're playing with. And for the demos, yeah, we've been using 1 more skull than the number of players, which is fine for demos. You can play with more if you want a longer game. So every time somebody dies, a skull gets removed, and when these run out, you do a final frenzy. Okay. Now, one of the cool things about the game is, so if you were to die, we would take this skull from here and we put it on the number 8 space. Mm-hmm. So what that means is that you are now worth less points or fewer points if somebody was to then kill you again. Oh. So it stops people ganging up on you just because they don't like you. So, yeah.
So, mean people can win this game.
Oh, definitely. Now, damaging somebody is also useful for the player who gets damaged. The reason why the game is called Adrenaline is that as you get damaged, your adrenaline levels rise and you actually get more powerful. So once you've taken your 3rd point of damage, if we just put one of the player boards maybe here in the middle. Okay, so once you've taken your third point of damage, it unlocks this ability. Okay, which means that you can move further before you pick something up. When you've been dealt your sixth point of damage, you get the ability to move before you shoot somebody. Normally, if you decide to shoot somebody, you stay in the space and you spend one of your actions on shooting. But if you are this angry, then you can move one space before you shoot, which opens up a lot of possibilities in the game.
So how do we shoot people? Do we play cards? You said it was deterministic, and I see stacks of cards, so I guess so.
So in the game you get two actions. One of the actions that you can do is to shoot one of your weapons. And the way it works, so let's say for example I've got this plasma gun, right? So I have this plasma gun here. This will basically shoot one of your targets and deal them 2 damage. So the way that the line of sight rules work is you can always see, if this was me, I can see anybody in the same room as me, and because I'm next to this doorway, I can also see anybody in this room.
Okay.
So right at the moment, the only player I can see is the red player. But there's lots of cool things that you can do in this game with power-up cards. So there is power-up cards that you will collect during the game. These all do different things, but this power-up card, for example, if I was to play it, would bring one player 2 spaces. So I could say, right, I'm going to move this guy to here, and I'm going to shoot him instead. The reason I might want to shoot him instead of red is red may have already been killed, therefore they'll be worth less points. I may be able to get first blood on green. There's a lot of things to think about in the game as to who you actually want to shoot and when you want to shoot them. Now, when you shoot somebody, you take the weapon and you play it face up onto the table. That weapon has now been fired. You cannot fire it again until you reload it, which costs ammo. So as well as the weapons, you're going to have to be moving around the arena, picking up these ammo tiles. So you will add ammo cubes into your ammo area, and then at the end of your turn, if you have the right cubes, you can reload the weapon, put it back in your hand, and then you're ready to fire it again. So there's a resource management element to the game in terms of the ammunition, because you need to keep picking up the right kind of ammo cubes in order to be able to reload your weapons.
How do we get new weapons? Is it also with the tiles here, and how do the tiles refresh at some point?
Yeah, so the ammo tiles, when you take an ammo tile, you remove it from the game, and then at the end of the turn, we'll just take a new one.
Okay.
The weapons are split over 3 spawn points. So this spawn point here are these 3 weapons. This spawn point are these 3 weapons. And basically, one of your actions is to pick something up. So you could move onto this space and say, I quite like a shotgun. So you pick up the shotgun. You have to load it when you pick it up. So you spend some cubes. You've now got a loaded shotgun in your hand.
Okay.
And what's nice about the game is that once you start playing it, and you say, oh, I'm going to pick up the shotgun. Players know what the shotgun does. They know it does more damage if you're in the same space as them. So what will happen is people might try to avoid you because they know you have certain weapons in your hand. So the dynamics of the game change. You know, if I say, oh, I'm going to reload the heat seeker, everybody goes, oh, we now know he's got a loaded heat seeker, and we'll take that into account.
Okay.
So yeah.
So there's not much of hidden information, everything is open.
Everything is open. I mean, yeah, if I say I'm loading the heat seeker, it would go into my hand. Yeah. But if you say, what does that do again? You'd show them. So the weapons are fairly simple, they just deal damage. Some of them have got various cool abilities, some of them are area effect weapons. So if you have an area effect weapon, you might want to use some of your other cards to say, right, well, I'm going to move him there, then I'm going to move him there, and then I'm going to fire a flamethrower into that space. So you can do really cool moves in this game with getting the right combination of cards together.
How do we get the power-ups?
So some of the ammo spaces, you'll notice, instead of having 3 cubes, have 2 cubes and a card. So you get a card in your hand. So yeah.
Okay, and what are the other modes of play?
So we've got a domination mode working at the moment, where there's going to be various control points around the arena. You shoot that control point, and I believe it switches to your control, and the longer you keep it, the more points you will get. The third mode of play I'm not too sure about. I know that they're working on it at the moment, and it's not quite working right. So I can't say too much, because we might not be able to get that mode working, which means we'll then come up with another mode. But we do want to put 3 different modes of play in the game. And it's definitely not a cooperative game for anybody who hasn't worked that out yet. So,
well, I think I haven't forgotten anything, so thank you, Paul, for your efficiency, because it was perfect.
Thank you.
And see you on Nudevox. Bye.
see you later.
INDIANA, that's Indiana. Ballin' like Reggie Miller, that's Indiana. I put on for my state, that's Indiana. Watch me rep it in your face. Indiana.